This has been talked about before, and Jeff, we had previous meetings where there was talk of, my recollection anyway, of having some season to help make sure that there were no issues or problems around people parking on the side of the road. The residents could get by, and there's no danger, less danger in accidents occurring. I don't know if that person was actually there somewhere or another. I'm sorry, I don't know that. Maybe you might want to think a bit about that. The other thing I want to say is that the farm just before, what's the name of the farm?
Driftwood Farms.
Sorry?
Driftwood.
Yeah, Driftwood Farm has been sold. The gentleman who's bought it just contacted me the other day with a long email stating that he is interested in meeting with BC Ferries to talk about the issue and to hopefully come to some resolution. I asked him to come to this meeting this morning, and he said he's not ready to do that. I'm going to meet him tomorrow morning at his farm and going to wander around and look at, he has some ideas. So what I thought is after I meet with him, I'll send information out to the FAC plus yourself, or I should, I guess to you, like I said. And then he wants to then proceed, see where it's best for him to slot in and meet with you guys and see what can be done about solving that problem. But Chris, I think you wanted to.
Yeah, this is basically my problem is that how BC managers manage the meetings they set up. We have an ongoing problem at Denman East. We live beyond the Hornby ferry, back up by Boyle Point Park. I've spoken to Highways. I've talked to the RCMP, which state that this is a gray area, and will happy ticket your clients as well as us for passing the lineup. I've spoken with David Hahn when he was your CEO. He stated that he realized that there is a problem there. Basically, you guys are putting blinders on until something happens. Not his exact words, but that's basically what he said. This problem is getting worse. This year, we had a lineup up to Thomas Road, which is just short of 1 kilometer. And so we have to go past that to get to our house. And not only do we have to do that, emergency vehicles will have to do that. If there's a fire up there, if there's a medical emergency, it's going to be a problem because when you go across that lineup, I've been sworn at. I've had things tossed at my car. I have had my car kicked. This is because your clients think that I am jumping the line to go to my house. And people are out of their cars. They're all over the road themselves, as well as their children and their dogs off leash running around. This year, I had a real problem. And this is where you guys may really want to look at this because this almost turned into a catastrophe. I was going very slowly, as I always do, with my four-way flashers on. I went around the traffic. On the blind bin, a child ran out straight in front of my car. I was able to stop. But what's going to happen here is that I'm going to get sued if I hit a child or somebody along there. But as happens with lawsuits, there's going to be a chain of liability, and BC Ferries is going to be right in that chain. You guys have deeper pockets than I do, so I'd be really, really worried about that. I did have, about a year or so ago, a talk with Kim McCauley. I believe she's your manager. She suggested putting on four-way flashers. I will say that has helped. They now don't know what I'm doing or where I'm going, but I have four-way flashers on, so they don't swear at me or do whatever. But I asked for signage there to say that local traffic could have, put on your four-way flashers so that they would realize what we are doing. No signage. I believe my husband spoke with Jeff asking about flaggers in that area. I think you thought it might be a good idea. You'd look into it. I've never seen a flagger there. Recently, Kim called to set up a meeting with herself and Jeff to go over the problems that were occurring there. This meeting was set up for October 7th, and they'd be on the 10:15 ferry, and that they would call us and would get together for the meeting. We stayed around all day October 7th. Not only did I not get a call to reschedule the meeting or cancel the meeting, I called the next day to talk to Kim. She said she knew nothing about this meeting, and it was informed that possibly I had the wrong person. It was Kim Campbell I wanted to speak with, who I've never heard of. She'd actually left a voicemail on my phone, and I checked the voicemail, and indeed it was Kim McCauley, and she did set up the meeting. I called her back, and then she basically said that, Jeff, you canceled the meeting, and that I'm getting really frustrated with this process. Having gone to so many different areas, I'd really like to see you guys actively pursue this problem and do something about it. That's all I have to say.
Okay, well, thanks. So, a bunch of points there. I think I caught them all. As far as the meeting goes, I know Kim had set up a meeting. I didn't know which day it was, so obviously some wires got crossed there. Kim's an honorable person and keeps her commitments, so I have to believe it was just a mix-up in terms of timelines. She's pretty interested in this one because we keep getting calls, and we'd like to make it better. But so in terms of, we have done some things. 2 years ago, this was raised, and we brought in flaggers in the summer. They weren't there every day. If you weren't there on the days they were there, quite understandable, you might not have seen them.
I try to stay away from the busy times.
So, and we brought them in for it was typically pre-long weekend, so the Friday of the long weekend when the traffic is going to Hornby. So we absolutely brought them in and paid for them. The contracted flaggers don't tend to understand the flows very well, because they'll come from off island somewhere and will say, here's the problem point, make it work, and they don't understand all the background of who's trying to go where, who's trying to go to Royal Point, who's trying to go to Ferry. So we did continue them for this past summer. Instead, this past summer, we typically have one terminal attendant at the terminal, and that's, their job is to take cars and put them on the ferry. So this past summer, on those same peak long weekends, we brought in 2 terminal attendants. We trained them in traffic control, as we're required to do. If you're controlling traffic outside of our property line, they need a higher level of traffic control training. And they were up on the road. I accept that they may not have been there on the days that you were observing, and if you're trying to stay away on the long weekends, you may not have seen them. But we absolutely did do that. We spent money on it. The impact probably, we didn't solve the problem. I think we would agree we didn't solve the problem. There is not enough space to line up cars on the side of that road at peak times. It just simply isn't. So we get it. We've tried a couple things. I think we talked to the guy who owns the farm to hear what his thoughts are. We're in a tough spot. Our property goes to, as you know, where it goes to the top of the lot there, and then we're out of space. So we're not dismissing that it's a concern, but we are stuck as well. I don't have a place to put cars.
Well, I have a suggestion for you. You save so much money with the cable ferry. There's a property for sale on the corner there, and I think it's not that expensive. You could buy that and put parking in there. I think it's a feasible idea.
I understand there's a fellow that owns Barefoot Farm now is looking at buying a piece of property also
Oh, I see.
at this stage.
Yeah.
Hey,
Is that the cow?
Yeah. Yeah.
if I could just throw in, Dennis Peltier, the fellow who owns the farm now, is very interested in,
Good.
he's worried, and his concern is in the sense that I didn't know this until Noel mentioned to me some time ago. That road through there is not a gazetted road.
It's not surveyed.
Did anybody know that road is not
East Road
gazetted?
or
East Road.
the section where
That
that
section
farm is.
by the farm.
It's owned by Dennis Peltier.
Yeah.
It's not surveyed, it's an unsurveyed road. And he is worried that if there is an accident, he's going to get on the hook.
Exactly. It's true.
Because it's our transportation ministry does not own the road.
So I guess they own the road, they just don't know where it ends and where
Right,
the property
sure.
starts.
Yeah. So that's the root of his concern, that he wants to solve this problem. He wants to solve the parking problem and this problem, which he sees as potentially a serious liability problem for him, which is not his fault. It's the fault of people waiting for the ferry.
That's right.
That situation of ferry traffic.
It's like I mentioned, you guys have deeper pockets. It'll be a line of who gets sued, and it almost happened this year.
Yeah, so we need to get something done here. And again, I mean, I told Dennis the other day when I talked to him that I don't have any authority to do anything. I'm happy to meet with him tomorrow. I'll see what your thoughts are, and then I will pass them out to you guys. And I'll help Dennis, but I won't, that's not, I can't do any more. Thank you.
Frank, who should he contact at DC Ferries? Like, if he has an issue with something he wants to do, he should probably not be going to us, he should contact.
I offered him that, I offered him to come today,
Yeah.
and he said, I'm not ready to do that. So,
See,
so
you can give my contact information.
I will.
I mean, if I may comment from somebody who's, it's the first time I ever hear of that problem, I'm new to the FAC too, but, you know, if there's an opportunity, I mean, you're here for the next 200, 300 years, whatever, it's core infrastructure in terms of BC Ferries, right? And if there is an opportunity to capture a lot that would provide long-term security or something like that, you know, I think you guys should think about the capital plan and talk to your legal around the issues that are brought up and weigh the pros and cons. And this is just me from hearing, I don't have any facts around that, but I know the situation. And if you have an opportunity, I just want to support as somebody who's not directly affected by that might be a good thing to look at.
So I'll pass your name out to him, and he can get it. Anything else?
I'm just curious, I was down that road once, down East Road too, and it was back to Thomas Road, and I was shocked. I'm a long-term resident of Denman. Well, how many ferry trips is that? 4?
We understand it was 4 to relieve that congestion.
Does that mean 4 full ferries have to go across?
Over 4 hours of waiting that road was initially blocked. It's not
It just
acceptable.
makes me think of shuttling. I guess they were shuttling.
This issue came up with them in West, and I was on the ferry committee, and we discussed exactly the same thing. I went down the hill, a boy jumped up in front of me, I hit the brakes, because they're having fun when they park there. So you did something about it, you took away the bank, you created an extra lane. I think that's what has to happen, either the lane or the parking lot.
Because they park right in the middle of the lane now.
Yeah, they do.
They don't park on the side, they park right in the middle.
Well, there's a ditch on the side.
Well, they can park another 4 feet over if they're, but they just park right. It's harder. I come by with my boat trailer, someone's coming the other way on a shitty back rubber, I got a problem.
Now we have to do something about it.
I find it just a little upsetting that Jeff states that he did try flaggers, but soon desisted doing that because it didn't seem to work. I would have thought that should have been pursued even more vigorously to find some solution, because with a kilometre-long line, without flaggers, it's really Russian roulette trying to pass those vehicles.
So we didn't not pursue it.